This week marks the 50th anniversary of the landmark Roe v. Wade decision, which made access to abortion a constitutional right in the United States. Across the U.S., demonstrators rallied for abortion rights after the Supreme Court overturned that decision last summer. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris delivered these remarks in Florida.
Americans of every background, in every community, have voiced their perspective. In essence, they said, one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree that the government should not be telling people what to do with their own bodies.
Since last year's startling reversal from the conservative-dominated bench, abortion has been banned or severely restricted in 14 states. Louisiana is one of them. Kathaleen Pittman is an administrator of the Hope Medical Group for Women, which until last summer was one of the last abortion clinics in the state of Louisiana. Ms. Pittman, thank you so much for speaking with us. I'd like to start by asking you about how the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade has affected your community.
Well, obviously, it's decimated abortion care, not just in North Louisiana, but through the state and most of the South, actually. So we are still, while we are not able to see patients for abortion care, we are manning our phones and trying to direct them to care as best we can. It's been difficult, to say the least. The ruling came down in the end of June of last year. We were able to keep our doors open for another month as we challenged it through the courts, but ultimately, by the end of July, we did have to stop providing care.
Before we get further into what's going on in Shreveport in northern Louisiana, I'm wondering, this is supposed to be the 50th anniversary of that landmark court decision. When you take a step back and you think about this moment in America, how do you feel?
Well, yesterday I spent time with my family and basically ignored the anniversary. I mean, what can I say? I had nothing to celebrate as far as I'm concerned. So I hung out with my family, watched a little football, and tried not to dwell on it. We compartmentalize our lives as best we can when dealing with difficult situations. So I decided yesterday was my day to step away.
Do you have any expectation that things will change, whether it's through legislation or there will be any sort of major change that will once again make it a right for those seeking an abortion to get access to an abortion, no matter what state they live in?
Not in the near future. I don't. This has been, a long time coming. A few years ago, had someone told me that we would be in danger of Roe being overturned, my general response was and would be, because abortion laws in each state have crept up and created so many problems, so many restrictions through the years, it wasn't so much Roe being reversed as it was just everything being, our rights being whittled away. And of course, now here we stand. So I don't anticipate anything changing in the near future, no.
So the clinic had to shut down. Are you still getting phone calls from people in the community that are seeking help?
Not just in the community, but all across the South. We're getting calls from Mississippi, Texas, Arkansas, and of course throughout Louisiana. Some totally unaware of the fact that abortion is now illegal. Some begging for help to get somewhere. We're manning the phones, trying to help direct patients. If all we can do is provide a link to where they can log in online and find the clinic nearest them, that's something. It's really all we can do at this point. Now, as far as the clinic's concerned, we have tried to continue running pregnancy tests and providing ultrasounds basically for free, just to help women determine how far along they are. And some of them not necessarily even seeking abortion care, but looking for prenatal care. And of course, if a woman's going to continue the pregnancy, she needs care as quickly as possible. So we've done what we can. We're in the process of relocating out of state. So a lot of our time now is spent trying to line that up.
Who is this affecting the most in Shreveport in northern Louisiana? But as you mentioned, you serve other states as well because you are in that sort of pocket where Texas is close by. There are other people coming from out of state. So when you look at this and what you're seeing in your community in the area you serve, who is this affecting the most?
The marginalized communities are being affected the most, as always, and that's the way it's always been. The primary reason given for terminating a pregnancy has always been financial instability. And so these are the people that cannot afford to travel. They're literally stuck in a cycle of poverty. And this is only going to create more problems for them. Louisiana has one of the highest, if not the highest, maternal mortality rate in the United States. And this is not going to help that any. We're going to see more women continuing pregnancies that they physically and medically should not be continuing.
One of the things that advocates who are against abortion, some have argued that, if this were to be the case and things were changed, like we've seen, that they would be willing to work with organizations that provide additional support to women to help bring these babies into the world and help give them the first support to get a good head start in life. Are you seeing any new bills, any new organizations, anything new that will help the people who are in this position now that this option is not available to them?
I have seen nothing. It will be interesting to see what the new legislative session brings forth in this spring, but we've not seen anything. And certainly if this were going to be the case, this is things that should have been put in place long before Roe was reversed, and it hasn't been.
The last thing I want to ask you about is, this is for a Canadian audience. You've got Canadians watching here. What do you think Canadians should be thinking about in this moment as this anniversary comes and goes and sort of the state of rights in America?
Don't assume it can't happen elsewhere. Be very careful, be vigilant, prepare. I feel like we weren't necessarily caught off guard, but we did not take the threat of the reversal of Roe seriously enough. So just be prepared and make sure your elected officials understand how important abortion care is. Reproductive health is so important, and don't let them forget.
Ms. Pittman, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. Good luck.